There is one thing he hates the most every morning. Not the alarm, not the world outside, but the reflection in the mirror. Every time he looks at himself, he doesn't see a person. He sees a collection of failures, a face that feels too ordinary, a life that feels too slow, a mind that never stops criticizing itself. He feels like a background character in his own story, while everyone else seems born with a better script. He often asks himself in silence, "Why do I have to be me?" On social media, he watches people whose lives look perfect, confident,
loved,
admired. They seem to know exactly who they are and where they're going. And he doesn't even know who he is supposed to be. Every success he sees feels like proof that he's falling behind, that something about him is wrong. Slowly, quietly, he begins to hate himself. He dismisses his own thoughts. He doubts every decision. He apologizes even when he has done nothing wrong. And the most painful belief of all, the world would be just fine without him. Nighttime is the hardest. When there's no one left to compare himself to except his own thoughts, he imagines what it would be like to wake up as someone else, with a different face, a different personality, a life that doesn't feel so heavy. He imagines being someone who doesn't have to pretend to be strong, someone who isn't exhausted just from existing. I want to be someone else. The sentence repeats in his mind like a prayer that never reaches its destination. One day, he starts trying to change. Not to grow, but to escape. He copies the way others speak. He copies the way they dress. He silences parts of himself just to be accepted. Every small compliment feels like evidence that being himself was never enough. That he is only worthy when he becomes someone else. But the more he tries to transform, the emptier he feels. He laughs, but feels nothing. He stays busy, but feels lifeless. Like wearing a mask for so long that he forgets his real face. Until one night, he breaks. Not physically, but emotionally. He sits alone, without music, without distractions. And for the first time, he stops running from his thoughts. He lets them come. The envy, the disappointment, the self-hate. And beneath all of it, he finds something he has ignored for a long time.
pain,
Not because he is weak, not because he is a failure, but because he has been too cruel to himself. He realizes something simple, yet devastating. He never truly hated himself. He was just tired of trying to be a version of himself that never existed. He hated himself for comparing his entire life to fragments of other people's lives. He hated himself for believing his process didn't matter. He hated himself for forgetting that not everyone grows at the same speed. For the first time, he asks an honest question. What if I'm not broken, just unfinished? That question doesn't fix his life overnight. He doesn't suddenly become confident. He doesn't instantly love himself. But the hatred begins to loosen its grip. He starts with something small. He stops insulting himself in his own mind. When he fails, he no longer says, "I'm useless," but "I'm learning." When he feels tired, he stops forcing himself and allows himself to rest. Slowly, he understands that becoming someone else was never the answer. Because no matter where he goes, he still brings himself with him. Maybe what he needs isn't a new life, but a more human way of looking at his own. He still feels inadequate sometimes. He still wishes he could disappear on certain days. But now, he knows one important thing. He doesn't have to love himself today. He just has to stop hating himself. Because self-love isn't about feeling powerful all the time. It's about staying, even when you feel unworthy of staying. And for the first time in a long while, when he looks into the mirror, he doesn't see someone he wants to replace. He sees someone who survived. And that is already enough.